So thank you, Iftikhar. Let's look into why is this such a big interest among operators for this. I would say that it's basically much about that it adds much needed new revenue for operators. Because let's face it, we don't have an enormous growth rate in the industry. The last decade has been like 2 to 3% yearly growth. If you look at projections for the next 5 years, it will look the same. And so to attract investors, as any companies, also mobile operators need to show growth. And on top of this, the mobile data traffic will rise by 3 times the next 5 years. Now, 5G will, of course, take care of a lot of that growth in a more effective way. But remember that it has also been very heavy investments in this. In some markets, we have seen 60% increase initially in CAPEX. And also the CAPEX is projected to continue on like 2.5% per year rate. And then we look at consumers. I mean, still consumers are the main business for operators. It's like 80% or so. And the penetration of mobile phones are already 71% and is expected to grow to 76% at the end of 2030. So with that, operators really need new revenue sources, and the API exposure business is certainly one of those. And also the revenues from application to person messaging has declined. And I think you have some insights on that, Iftikhar.
No, that is actually the last bullet. The declining A2P messaging is very relevant because for many operators, that is the commercial and the revenue generation from the entire A2P messaging ecosystem, the SMS, and that is declining. And what we see is that the API basically brings and complements that revenue channel. So it's a new way of doing something that is traditionally done through SMS, and the operators play a key role in making that, in realizing that new option based on APIs.
Right. Yeah, so let's now go into the more operational and technical aspects. You know, the sentiment for those that are not heavily involved in CAMARA is that it should be plug and play. You plug it into the enterprise application, you plug it into mobile operator systems, and that's it. But that is not really it's not that easy, is it, Iftikhar?
No, it's not. So before we start, I'd say think of CAMARA as the stepping stone for API exposure. Once this capability is built into an operations of let's say a network operator, then they have the ability to do much more innovation over there. They can add new APIs, not only limited to the ones that CAMARA and the existing suite has defined. They can have even internal other market-specific use cases of their own. But what we have seen when this started out earlier, about 2.5 years back, there was a general, for operators who have not been into the mainstream activity of this, had an underlying assumption that this was more of a plug and play approach. You could get something off the shelf, put it in, and boom, it's done. But that is not actually true, because what happens within the API is that the APIs get exposed towards the enterprises. But then there is a whole bunch of things on how the underlying business logic will actually be created. And that is, where are the information elements coming from? Where are the data elements coming from? They may come from a specific operational silo, i.e., let's say core network entities, or they may be correlated across silos. So there may be information coming from core network, some coming from CRM systems, some coming from customer care systems, and they are all put together harmonized, and then the result is exposed. So that is all integration activity that operators, that falls within the operator's preview to basically realize how they are going to implement it. And that's what I meant when I said earlier, there is relatively good flexibility in the system on how operators want the underlying architecture to evolve, because this is in their control. They need to decide what their priorities are and how they'll do it. But so in a nutshell, it's not just plug something in and turn it on. It's the exposure is uniform, but there is underlying architectural decisions and operational decisions that operators would need to consider and think out when they go down this pathway.